I think the leaf shape is so cute. I think it's gonna end up being one of my all-time favorites. I was really excited about this one and it did not disappoint. Hi, I'm Michaela and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you a few plants that I think are really unique and underrated and just don't get enough love from us plant people. I did a couple of videos like this, I think about a year ago. So these are all going to be different plants from those two videos. So let's just get into the plants. Okay, so I'm going to start with Hoyas. I've been really enjoying Hoyas lately. I went through a bit of a phase last year where I just kind of stepped away from Hoyas a little bit, but I am back on the Hoya bandwagon. The first Hoya is this Hoya fungii, and I think this is such a cool one. This one is a little bit hard to tell how cool it is in pictures because this leaf shape isn't really in itself that exciting, in my opinion. What makes it exciting is the size of the leaf. So, I mean, here it is, you can see compared to my hand, it has pretty big leaves, and I know you won't be able to see this, but the back is kind of fuzzy. So that's really fun, and it grows really quickly and easily in high humidity or not. So it's just really easy to deal with, and it's not one of those plants that you have to consciously think about all the time. You can just set it somewhere and enjoy it. The next Hoya is the Hoya maniparensis. I'm not sure why people don't like this one more. I think the leaf shape is so cute. It's almost like a heart, or I don't know what this actually is, but it kind of reminds me of like a cross between a Polyneura and a Carrii. And it also has kind of a fuzzy texture, which I always love, and it's really easy to grow. I have this sitting in just regular room conditions, and I don't have to worry about it. In fact, I didn't even know this whole other vine existed because it was hiding behind something. So this is just a really easy one. It looks like it's gonna have some blooms. I'm not sure what the flower on this plant actually looks like, so I'll have to look it up, but it looks like it's gonna be pretty cool. Okay, this one is not on my list, but it is on my shelf back here. I'm just gonna add an impromptu Hoya to this list. That is the Hoya Thomsonii. I do think that this one gets a little bit more hype than the rest of them, but the texture is what is really cool about this. I don't think it's definitely not a fast grower for me, but I'm not sure if that's the case for others or not, but for me, it's not a fast grower, but I will let it slide because of the texture. It's just like a fuzzy little Hoya. It's like it reminds me of like some kind of a baby animal. I don't know. Okay, so the next Hoya is my Hoya Weimannii. This one is also really easy, and it's kind of one of those, it has a similar like texture to like a Hoya caudata sumatra. But this plant was sent to me by Aroid Market, and it's supposed to sun stress, but it is not getting enough light in my greenhouse to sun stress. But I think it's still a really cool plant without that. And it grows really fast too, and it's easy to take care of. And it has kind of a round leaf shape, which I am always a big fan of. Yeah, these have, I should have cleaned this plant up. This was in the greenhouse during what I'm calling the diatomaceous earth incident. I'm not sure why I didn't think that. I have a lot of fans going out there, and I'm not sure why I didn't realize that a powder would become airborne if I tried to sprinkle it everywhere with all my fans. So yeah, everything had diatomaceous earth on it. I was pretty upset about it. It's funny now, but at the time it was not funny. I was so mad, and fortunately I thought to wear a mask, or that could have been bad, but I was wearing a mask, and we have cleaned up, for the most part, the diatomaceous earth incident. But it kind of just looks like this, the splashiness on the leaves. And I know that there are different types of Hoya Wymaniae, and I'm not sure what this one is, so I apologize, but very cool Hoya, and I don't see a lot of people talking about it for some reason. Okay, so my next one is the Aglaonema Pride of Sumatra, and it is getting a new leaf, but I really love Aglaonema. I don't have a lot of them, but, well, I have one, but I really love it. And this, just add variegation to that, and I think it is so beautiful. This plant does get, I would say, some hype in the plant community, but for how cool it is, I think it should get more. And so far, this has been a really easy plant for me. And I just love this one because it has, what would you call this? So I have a green version here, and this is one of my favorites. And I asked you all what this was called in a past video, and I believe it is an Aglaonema Maria. But what I like about the variegated one, and I'm not sure what I would call these. In my head, this seems like variegation, this silver part. But what I like about this plant is that it seems to have both variegation and the silver part, if that makes sense. So that is why I think that this one is so cool. Okay, so we're gonna move on to Syngoniums, and this one is a Syngonium Freckles. I traded with someone at the Joplin plant swap in April for this one, and I wasn't really sure what to expect from it, but I really love almost any Syngonium that I have, so I was really excited about this one, and it did not disappoint. But I've never seen pictures of this or anything, but I think it is really cool. It kind of reminds me of a green splash, just it definitely looks different, but it has that type of vibe, and it's been a pretty easy grower for me also. Okay, so my next one, this is just a smaller version. My mother plant, I wasn't sure where I put it, so it's also a Syngonium, and that is a Syngonium Milk Confetti. And what I like about this one is just how much contrast there is on these leaves. It's like a light green with a really dark pink variegation. And it does seem to fade a little bit as it gets bigger, but I still think that it is a really cool plant. This used to be super expensive, and whenever the price dropped, so did the interest in it, it seems like. But I still think this is a really cool one, especially if you are a fan of pink plants. Okay, so I had to take a break to go turn on the air conditioner because it just started feeling really hot all of a sudden. I've had the windows open all day, and then we just reached that point in the afternoon where that's no longer acceptable. So yeah, I had to go shut all the windows and turn on the air conditioner. But it doesn't, I think it's the humidity, because it doesn't feel like the temperature that the thermostat is saying. Also, I was watching Wild Fern this morning, and she was showing the temperature that it is in her house, and I was shocked. Like, how is she doing what she's doing at those temperatures, you know? And she like doesn't look like I look at those temperatures. So yeah, very impressed with her. She's way tougher than me, but yeah, I just got way too hot at 74 because yeah, I'm I'm accustomed to my comfortable temperatures. So, okay, so my next one is my Philodendron Jungle Fever. I talk about this plant all the time. I think it's gonna end up being one of my all-time favorites. It's just so much different than so many of the plants I have, so many of the variegated plants that I have. It's like a yellowish minty variegation with some green, and the back of the leaves, especially the new leaves, okay, this is gonna be really hard to show, and it's not even showing up on camera, but the veins and the petioles are kind of pinkish, which I really love, and I always love a scalloped edge on a plant. And so far, this variegation has not seemed to be prone to much of any browning, which I really appreciate. The only thing I've had issues with is like the philodendron fungal leaf spot on it. And it seems like some philodendrons are just more prone to that than others, and this does seem to be one of them. But just spray it with some fungicide and move along. It really isn't that noticeable, I don't think. But yeah, I think this is gonna end up being one of my all-time favorites for sure. Okay, so the next two are out in my greenhouse, and I'm not gonna be able to bring them in, but they are still worth a mention nonetheless. The first one is my Philodendron Red Emerald. I've had this one for a few years now, and only recently have I stopped cutting it up and decided to just see how much I could size it up. And it is definitely getting really big, and it's just got a really classic look to it, which I love, and it grows pretty well just about anywhere that you will put it. It's not a difficult plant, but it just has, there's something about a Philodendron Red Emerald that I just love, and I don't hear them talked about very much. I don't know, they don't seem super common either. I don't see them much when I go to nurseries. I think they just get overlooked because there's no variegation and it's a fairly simple leaf shape, but I really love this one, and I think it is definitely worth having. Okay, so the next one I also can't bring in because it is attached to one of my other plants, and that's my Philodendron gigas. I really like this one. I've been kind of messing around with different growth patterns of it. I used to grow it trailing, and I don't remember why, but it started kind of struggling a little bit, and I noticed that it started climbing one of my fiddle leaf figs nearby. So I just thought, I'll see what happens with that. And the leaves have sized up so much, and it just looks so cool growing on that plant. And I keep saying I'm gonna take some cuttings. I never have, but there is, so it's a velvety philodendron, but it definitely has a way more sparkly sheen to it than most velvety philodendrons. So, I mean, it gets compared to the melanochrysum quite a bit, I think. However, it's way easier than that in my opinion, and much prettier. So yeah, you can't beat a Philodendron gigas. I will say they're kind of, as far as philodendrons go, they're harder to root than a lot of other ones. And they are fairly prone to spider mites, like most philodendron are, especially the velvety ones. So I think they're definitely worth the trouble though. Trailing or climbing, either way, they look really cool. So yeah, gotta love a Philodendron gigas. Okay, so those are all of the plants on my unique underrated plants list for this year. Let me know if you have any of these, or if there's any unique underrated plants that you have that you think I would like. Definitely let me know. I'm always on the hunt for new plants, of course. So that is going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if you did, please like and subscribe and follow me on Instagram at Queen City Tropicals, and I'll see you again soon.